Dustin Poirier is still that guy, man. Knocks out Benoit Saint Denis in the second round, put him out cold. The striking was just so vast in skill. I mean, Dustin was way more technical than Benoit Saint Denis. Benoit just had the toughness and the strength. Evident from even what Dustin said post-fight. He said this guy's very strong. Benoit was trying to tank his way into everything. He tried to tough his way through all the punches that Dustin threw at him and didn't really resort to any technical defense. He was walking into punches. And it was bound to happen where he was going to fall trying that. Even the way that Dustin threw the uppercut. And the reason why this uppercut, for an example, was so effective is because Dustin understood that a grappler like Benoit Saint Denis is going to have a natural instinct to duck his head, especially when Dustin's back is close to the fence, so he can intercept that head movement, whether Benoit is going to shoot a takedown or try to avoid a punch. Throwing the jab and then following with the right hook. I mean, you just see the technique of Dustin Poirier doubling up on the same hand, and Benoit saw none of it coming. He extends forward with the jab, and while extending, Benoit sees a target to the body for a right hook. But what he doesn't understand is Dustin is going to pull back away, which is also going to take his body a few inches back, avoiding the hook to the body, and Benoit left an opening on his left side. He didn't pick his left hand up and gets cracked hard by a right hook. But in that God of War fashion, he keeps trucking forward, and they both go and throw a left straight at each other. Dustin lands while evading Benoit's, simply because Dustin moved his head with the punch, whereas Benoit did not. And this drops Benoit Saint Denis. You're able to see there's a clear difference in technique between the two fighters. In the final punch, when they're both exchanging with each other, so firstly, Dustin Poirier grabbed onto a guillotine, but he didn't pull guard with it this time. He actually adjusted in the fight and used the guillotine in order to get away from the fence and reposition himself to land the left hand. So instead of trying to chase a submission here, he was using the guillotine to get a better position on Benoit Saint Denis. Very intelligent work from Dustin Poirier. Look how he has the guillotine and now he's spinning around, getting Benoit closer to the fence, but more importantly, getting himself away from the fence. And as soon as Benoit slips out of it, Dustin finds the opening for the left hand, catching Benoit on the chin. And then Dustin hops forward directly at Benoit and fakes the right hand, trying to see a reaction out of Benoit, and he guards up. But the opening is there. Dustin pinpoints the left hook around Benoit's right guard, catching him there too. And Benoit goes to return with a left hand of his own. He's trying to counter Dustin's attack. Misses the punch as Dustin Poirier is also ducking his head slightly and moving himself to the left side. As Benoit Saint Denis completely overextends, switching stances forward. Look how he's bringing that left foot of his that's back. He's bringing it forward. And this causes him to also walk right into the counter right hook from Dustin Poirier as he fades away from Benoit Saint Denis' follow-up right hand. And the reason why fading away with the right hook works so well for Dustin is because you're throwing the punch as you're moving away. So the punch lands before your body's out of range of your opponent's punch. And this happens in a constant motion. So as soon as Dustin's moving back, he's throwing the right hook, lands on the chin, and his body's already out of range. And honestly, Dustin made this fight hard on himself for no reason. Pulling the guillotines put him in the worst positions in the fight and in positions where he was in risk of getting submitted. Benoit Saint Denis' best asset is his ability to get your back. He got Dustin's back a couple times in the fight. He got full mount in the fight as well. He was going for the rear naked chokes, but Dustin did a really good job of defending them. This is what I was saying before, that Dustin's grappling is very underrated. His IQ in the grappling may not be the greatest by pulling the guillotines, and he said he's not going to stop. I respect it. I do definitely respect it, but man, against certain opponents, you gotta really pick your battles here, right? And the guillotine is probably not the best tactic against grapplers like this. The fight could have been much easier for him if he just never pulled the ghillie. And one of the ways that Dustin escaped the back was just focusing on the grip and the hook, got two hands on one of Benoit's to take away the choke, and then grabbed onto one of the feet to pry open a hook, creating an opening for himself to spin out of the back take. And even when Benoit Saint Denis tried to go for the armbar after getting the back, and Dustin shoved his head on the inside, blocking the leg from crossing his face, Benoit tried to turn that into a triangle, very crafty move here, but Dustin pulled out just enough to where he cannot get snatched by the legs of Benoit into that triangle. Then Benoit tried to turn into another armbar, a little bit modified, but Dustin was able to pull his arm out just enough and he knew he was safe from there. Very aware when he's not pulling the guillotine, man. The distance management from Dustin Poirier was absolutely impeccable in this fight. Like for an example right here, Benoit Saint Denis pressuring him back and he's firing out a left straight from distance. And Dustin Poirier doesn't even move anywhere. He just fires out the check right hook, knowing that Benoit's left straight is going to fall short of connecting with impact because Dustin's going to move his head away from the punch at the same time. So the left straight from Benoit actually gets a bit overextended because of this, and Dustin's check right hook almost lands perfectly. It bounces off the shoulder, then hits the head, and Benoit follows up with a takedown afterward, where Dustin pulls the guillotine. Another example of that is Benoit Saint Denis overextending with the left overhand. Dustin takes one step back, knows that the punch is going to miss and overextend, and he lands another check right hook, this time to the temple. And after tanking the punch, Benoit tries to reach for a takedown, but Dustin actually switches stances backwards, taking away the leg that Benoit was seeking. Or look at this moment right here. Both fighters are throwing their power hand at the same time. Dustin is in the parallel stance, whereas Benoit Saint Denis is in southpaw, and Dustin's just the faster puncher. He throws his right hook and lands it before Benoit's punch misses, and the reason why the punch misses is because Dustin Poirier connecting his punch throws off Benoit's targeting, and that's a clean right hook from Dustin Poirier. He lands flush on the chin, but Benoit again tanks the punch and fires off a big right hook as Dustin fades out and moves his head and slightly shoulder rolls the punch, calculating the distance perfectly. Smooth defense from Dustin Poirier right there. And there was a really cool moment from Benoit Saint Denis where he used the Kimura to reverse Dustin Poirier's takedown. So Dustin's actually trying to get a takedown here, and Benoit grabs into a Kimura and pulls that, flipping Dustin over with his leg. Look how he has his leg in between Dustin's and he extends it forward. Dustin Poirier is trying to hold himself on the fence here. He actually grips onto the fence with his toes, but Benoit is still able to roll and get on top, reversing the position up against the fence on Dustin Poirier. And Dustin further proves to us that he's still one of the best lightweights in the world. The knockout loss to Justin Gaethje did not weather him away. In fact, he did take some big punches, elbows, and knees from the bigger Benoit Saint Denis. I don't even know how Dustin took this knee. I mean, flush to the chin, whiplashes his head, and he just keeps moving forward. The damage from Justin Gaethje head kicking him doesn't seem to have cracked his chin at all, and he never looked hurt in the fight at all, so it's a really good sign for Dustin. It shows that he can go a little bit longer, he can get some more fights under his belt, and further his legacy in this sport. I wonder what he's going to do next. I have no idea. There are quite a few opponents for him, but I would like to see the winner of Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway fight Dustin Poirier. I think that's the fight to put up next, because Dana did say that the winner of Arman and Oliveira is going to fight Islam Makhachev. If they go that route, let's say they don't go with the winner of Justin and Max. If they go Charles and Arman, then let's do Dustin versus the winner of Justin and Max. But if they go the other way, then let's do Dustin versus the winner of Charles and Arman. Dustin Poirier should be in the next #1 contender fight. And as for Benoit Saint Denis, it was a very bad knockout, but not a bad loss considering who he lost to. One of the greatest lightweights of all time. Benoit's number 12. He lost to the number 3. It's nothing to really hang your head on too much. Learn from the experience, get as much out of it as you can, and go into the next fight as a completely different beast. Benoit Saint Denis, I think, should fight Rafa dos Anjos. I think that should be the next fight. And I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. And if you did, make sure to give this a like, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video.